A lot of people call the work that I do figurative and classical, and I never use those two words because classical to me is about becoming more simple and capturing kind of elemental beauty. I'm much more of a romanticist. I like the complexity of artwork. I like the narration that comes through a piece of artwork. I like artwork that connects to my personal kind of observations of life. So I think of them as being romantic, mythical, narrative. This is called From the Heart, and it's a little bit of a tortured sculpture of a bit of a tortured man. If you're looking at it from a distance, the base is really representing his history as a man and his birth in chaos and kind of a testosterone square rigid tower that eventually breaks apart, and he's kind of emerging from that. I sometimes have to pause, a forced sort of pause, to think about the one that got away, and nature's will to take away perfection. The poems were attached to the circus collection, and the circus collection wasn't really about the circus. The circus collection, you know, the best circuses you see, when you look at the way the acts unfold, become interesting because they're talking about our lives. She looks at me, I look at her, so once again we start out equal. While the pause recalls, it's the one on the floor that I'm juggling for. Gaia's Breath is part of a series that was called the Goddess Series, and Gaia is the goddess of earth. The story of the earth and the passing from generation to generation, you know, Mother Earth, Mother, Daughter. That story, I think, speaks universally to all people of all cultures, and so this piece probably became a little bit of a signature piece for me. So I do use models, but I don't use them the way most people do. I'm telling a story with a sculpture first, and then I'm using a model to just as a reference at the very end, so that I end up with a believable form. And even then, they're not completely believable. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, that anatomy is really great," and I look at it and I say, "Yeah, I know it's not really that great. That leg is not possible, and it's not possible to do this." But a lot of times the energy of the piece would be compromised if you didn't leave the anatomy a little loose. I'd really love to have had Michelangelo's experience, where I just had a dead body laying there and be able to go and find out exactly where all these muscles go to, but I've not had that privilege. If I have a model come over here, I ask them, you know, take off your clothes, and that's usually no problem, but if I ask them to take off their skin, they really get upset with that. Yeah, that face is still pretty crooked. To get it into a piece of bronze, that involves a lot of different steps. first thing we have to do is make a rubber mold. This is the rubber mold that's being held into position by an outer mold that's actually called the mother mold. The mother mold, it's called the mother mold because it's cradling, holding this rubber mold in the correct position. The wax is then poured into the rubber mold in the same configuration and the same size as the clay was, only the wax now is a hollow piece of wax. It's like a chocolate Easter bunny. The wax sculpture and those wax channels all get dipped into a ceramic slurry. That device actually then is put into a kiln, and all of the wax melts out of that ceramic slurry mold. This mold has the wax all melted out of it. It becomes a hollow ceramic shell form, and that's called lost wax casting. And then molten bronze is poured in. Hey Richard, let's bring this piece out onto your desk. I'd like to see how these pieces are going to start coming together. Then they go to the patina department. The patina person is actually adding something new to the scenario. He's adding layers of rust and oxide using chemicals that allow the sculpture to gradually change colors. I think that you ought to go with basically the process that you did on the chocolate one. The process of making, I really enjoy the process, and I get to have my own place and no boss, and I mean there's a lot of privileges that you have when you're a sculptor, but I don't have any problem at all letting go of a sculpture. If somebody loves one of my sculptures, it is just a total thrill for me to have it go from my possession to their possession and then have it do something that's important in their life, have that kind of an effect. I don't get ownership oriented. It's not like, oh, well, boy, I sure have put a lot of work into this. How can I let it go? It's like the exact opposite. It's not even done until it has entered someone's space and it does what a sculpture is supposed to do, which is have a dialogue with the people who have kind of fallen in love with it.